you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Tuesday, January 1st or January 4th, 2022. Kind of screwed up there. Doesn't really matter all that too much. You get it. It's January 4th. Hopefully you guys had a spectacular New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and New Year's weekend, basically, and did all the things you thought you would do. And hopefully you guys stayed safe for the most part. No drinking and driving, no DUIs, no nothing of that sort. Nothing bad really happened for you guys out there, I hope. But my weekend was pretty awesome. Okay, we got to go out to Lambeau Field. And let me tell you, folks, absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, I really can't put into words like how incredible it was. I mean, it was just amazing to be there, amazing to see all the history and just know like the hundreds and maybe like thousands of players that have been in that Packers organization throughout the years, like Vince Lombardi, Ray Nitschke, I think that's how you say his last name, all those phenomenal players, Brett Favre, Donald Driver, Greg Jennings. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and I did miss a few names there, but it was just incredible. Got to go see the Hall of Fame museum. I haven't even seen the Vikings Hall of Fame museum. So, when I was there, it was just like a jaw-dropping moment, like where you're just kind of like, wow, okay, like this place, this history, it's just uncomparable to anywhere else, to any other franchise. I mean, that stadium has literally been there since the old City Stadium back, before Vince Lombardi's time. I believe Vince Lombardi probably coached the old City Stadium or whatever for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden Lambeau was built, named after Packers legend Curly Lambeau. But Vince got to coach on that field, and all they really have done is completely continued to build around that stadium, build it, add more seating, add more rings, add the outside. I mean, it was just a majestic place to be. The stairs leading up to the stadium, like the main gate that you go in. I mean, unbelievable to be there. Unfortunately, the Vikings got their, got slaughtered, okay, to say the least, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to be the case right from the get-go. I mean, geez, Sean Mannion, hey, I mean, not a starter, and I think we seen that last night through his first career touchdown pass to KJ Osborne. Not last night, on Sunday, but he threw his first career touchdown pass to KJ Osborne. I mean, it was cold as shit, okay? I was fine, obviously, because I wore my hunting gear, wore my orange. I was good. The only thing cold was my nose, but I don't think it was as cold as the Winter Classic that has happened here in Minnesota at Target Field. I think it was like negative 25 or something, just ridiculous like that. So Lambeau was nothing like that. They thought it was going to be a lot colder. It actually ended up getting gradually warmer, not by much, okay, but ended up getting gradually warmer throughout the weekend. Basically, like the forecast said, hey, listen, it's going to be a degree warmer. So, I mean, it was a little bit, it was fun. It was an experience like no other. I will definitely be back. That's 100% a fact. Like there's no atmosphere that I've been in, been to that compares to Lambeau. And take in mind, like I haven't been to every NFL stadium. The only NFL stadiums I have been to are Herbert H. Humphrey, the dome for the Minnesota Vikings way back in the day. I've been to US Bank Stadium. Obviously, you got to go there. And then I've been to Lambeau. Okay. Otherwise, the other professional sports venues that I've been to. I've been to the Target Center where the Minnesota Timberwolves play. I've been to Target Field where the Minnesota Twins play. I've been to the XL Energy Center. It's been a while since I've been there, so I'm sure that atmosphere is like no other as well. But just going there, soaking it all in, I mean, it was incredible. The way they go out there and support their team, literally every single bar around the stadium is completely packed. They love their Green Bay Packers. They love their football over there. And I mean, it's not even like, it's not a city. So like you don't see all these huge, buildings, these skyscrapers, whatever you want to call them. And it's not like how Minneapolis is or anything like that. It's just like a town, okay? It's a town of like 104,000 or something with a fucking NFL stadium right in the middle of it. And I couldn't have been more privileged, couldn't have been more honored to tag along on that journey where John, guest host on Fantasy Football Friday, it was his birthday on Sunday, where that was basically the reason why we went to the game. He got the tickets for us. We went, had ourselves a blast. I will definitely be back at some point in some point in my life. I will definitely be back at Lambeau. Maybe when it's warmer, okay, so I can really soak it all in. But at the same time, I don't want to get a little too much boozed up over there, because it'd be real easy. I mean, I've seen a lot of stragglers, just those people that you look in the face and they're just hammered and they can't walk, they really can't focus, their eyes are telling them like, hey, buddy, it's time to go to bed. All right, like there was a lot of that going on, a lot of that I did witness. We had some people behind us that wanted to be, scumbags, to say the least. They weren't talking shit. They weren't doing any of that. They were just basically telling us, hey, sit the fuck down, okay? I was like, no, not going to happen, okay? Like, listen, I'm here, my first experience. I don't care that you got a seat behind me, fella. Suck it up and move on. All in all, great experience. Highly recommended. 10 out of 10. Go to Lambeau. You won't regret it, okay? But we got a lot to dive into today because we didn't do the show yesterday. Obviously, we were traveling back from Green Bay, so we got to talk about all of Sunday's games, yesterday's game, and all of that. So let's get to it. Are you ready to get your fix? So last night we got to witness one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, possibly and more than likely. Play his last game at Heinz Field. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, from what it's looking like and what it's sounding like, is he's going to end up retiring at the end of this year, and last night was probably his last game at Heinz Field, even though their playoff hopes are still alive. They do need a couple things to happen, like they do need a win this Week 18 game, but then they also need the Jacksonville Jaguars to win as well, and I believe the Jaguars are playing the Raiders, or one of the better teams. I mean, I guess every team in the NFL except probably the Giants are going to be better than the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a lost cause at this point in my eyes. I mean, obviously it's Week 17. They're not going to make the playoffs and stuff, but I mean, it's tough. This organization has really never made any noise except for a couple of years ago. It was like 2015 or 2016 where Blake Bortles led them to an AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots, and well, the Patriots got it done. But last night was an amazing experience to watch that. I almost shed a tear just because of, my love of football. But, I mean, it ended in the most perfect way imaginable. Okay, Pittsburgh has the lead. Ben goes out there, does his last little drive or whatnot. Then it's Cleveland's ball to kind of, I guess, kind of try to seal or try to get closer, try to put him into closer into the game, make it a game. It didn't happen. They end up throwing a pick six. They return it. Baker goes out there again, ends up going 3 and out. Big Ben gets the ball with like 20 or something seconds like that. And Browns have no timeouts. Ben gets to take a knee. One last play to finish his amazing career off at Heinz Field for the Pittsburgh Steeler Nation. I mean, one hell of a fucking career for Big Ben and his team and what he's been able to accomplish there. 2 Super Bowls, I believe. I mean, the dude's been there for 17 plus years and, epitomizes what it means to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. The hard worker, blue collar, bring your lunch pail to work every single day type of guy. And he really embraced that, really grew with that as an NFL quarterback. And hey, he walked it off. He got the dub last night, 26-14, where the Pittsburgh Steelers moved to 8-7-1 on the season. The Cleveland Browns moved to 7-8 Now, Big Ben, he obviously didn't do amazing, okay, by any means, but it was a tougher game against a pretty solid defense in the Cleveland Browns. Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett. I mean, the corners played pretty solid for the most part. Ben, he ended up throwing 46 times, only completed 24 of them, had 123 passing yards, a touchdown and an interception, where Baker, pretty much the same kind of stats, only 16 to 38, 185, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But the big takeaway from this game, actually a couple takeaways from this game, and honestly, I do believe this game goes the complete opposite way if the Cleveland Browns just figure out a way how to catch the goddamn ball. Drop after drop after drop. I mean, I think Baker, I think I sent this picture to Logan, John, and mine's group chat on Snapchat or whatever, that said, Baker Mayfield became the first quarterback in NFL history to have 10 straight incompleted passes. Can't happen. I think a lot of it has to do with his receivers. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that before the start of this game, they knew they weren't going to make the playoffs, and they were already out of the playoffs. So it's kind of like, all right, well, I mean, kind of done here. Well, this shut off, so I'm talking about my little handy-dandy, light over here. That's okay. We'll put that off to the side. We'll figure out a way to get that going. But they just couldn't catch the ball. And you see there, Donovan Peoples-Jones only had 3 catches, 76 yards. I bet you he has 5 or 6 to end the game if he catches all the balls he was targeted and has over 100 yards receiving. It just happened to go, the opposite way. And another big takeaway is Nick Chubb barely got anything. 12 carries, 58 yards. Kareem Hunt wasn't playing in the game. He was not activated. Okay, so at that point, you expect Nick Chubb is going to be the guy. He's going to be the workhorse. He's going to get a lot of carries because Pittsburgh Steelers defense against the run is awful, okay, to say the least. Like, they just cannot stop the run. When Dalvin was there, when I was there on Thursday Night Football, watching and witnessing what this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is all about, Dalvin Cook had holes, the size of semi-trucks to go and run right through. And it surprised me that the Browns didn't run the ball. And Logan has been kind of talking about this for quite some time where, look, the Cleveland Browns need to just run the goddamn ball. That's their MO. Okay, their MO is not passing. It's not defense, necessarily. It's running the ball. Get that ball, or get that run game started early and often because then you can work off that. Dearness Johnson, he's a freak of nature. He, I think, got more carries than Nick Chubb ended up getting. So why weren't they using Nick Chubb? I get it that they weren't going to make the playoffs, but that's your guy. You got to use him. Another thing that pops in my mind is maybe, just maybe, they want to see what they really have in Baker Mayfield. Like, is Baker Mayfield going to be their guy, their franchise quarterback going forward throughout the next 5, possibly 10 years? And they've really been on the edge of, I'm not going to give you a contract right now because we're not for sure if you're going to be our guy going forward. We're really on edge, okay? We're on a teeter-totter right here. There's some days where we're like, oh, hell yeah, this is our guy. There's other days where it's like, I don't know if this is going to be the one that we want for our organization and all of that. And so it makes me think maybe they want to see just a little bit more out of Baker. What do we actually have going into this offseason? Because we all know that this offseason is going to consist of a quarterback frenzy. And by that, I mean there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks that are potentially going to be free agents, a.k.a. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater. The list goes on and on with these quarterbacks that teams might let go. Now, I get it. There's no quarterbacks really coming out of this year's draft class. So the pickings it's going to be slim pickings from the draft class. So the Browns, if they're not going to go with Baker Mayfield, they got to go out and sign a veteran quarterback, a guy that has been in the league for quite some time, a guy that knows how to lead a locker room, a guy that knows how to complete a pass, and really build that chemistry with their team. And another interesting aspect of this, I guess you could say, is I asked Logan the other night, I said, who would you rather have as your quarterback, Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield? Being a Cleveland Browns fan, being a diehard Baker Mayfield fan, he said Baker Mayfield, but I don't buy it. Baker Mayfield, yeah, he led him to the playoffs last year, but guess what? One playoff berth in 3 years. Joe Burrow has completely turned around the Cincinnati Bengals franchise. I think if Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt last year, we see the Cincinnati Bengals put up even more of a fight throughout the entirety of the year, to say the least. Because there's something about Joe Burrow that makes my eyes just sparkle. Like that's a dude. Like that's a guy that's going to be in the NFL for a long, long time. Potential Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. Who knows if that's the case? Because I mean, this is only year 2, so I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer right now and right here and now. But Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Famer, and there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be a first ballot, maybe what's the word, a unanimous decision Hall of Fame, inductee basically. Ben Roethlisberger has done incredible things. Yeah, he's dealt with some issues off the field and for quite some time, and all that stuff kind of went to the wayside because of how good of a football player he is and the things he's able and capable of doing on the football field day in and day out. But hell of a career, Big Ben. It was an honor to watch you, an honor to be a part of the thousands and millions of fans of the NFL in general, just to know that you definitely are one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the sport. And it's just an honor. It truly is an honor to have been able to watch you perform and do what you love. And hopefully, maybe we see more of you in the future. Maybe potential coach, potential broadcaster, stuff like that. It'd be really interesting. And I hope he has a chance to go to the playoffs this year. Give him one last chance at the Lombardi. I doubt that's going to happen because I just don't see the Jacksonville Jaguars winning at all the rest of the season. And then they got one more game, obviously. But Week 17's all said and over with. But one hell of a career. I mean, that was just an inspiring, like, how do you want to say it? It was incredible to watch. Just the whole ending of it. I did think right when it was all said and done, the media needs, like, they how do you want to put it this? They steamrolled him, basically. I mean, they came in abundance and just completely surrounded him in like 2 seconds right as soon as the game got over. I mean, he was walking with guys a foot in front of him, guys a foot behind him on each side, a foot, and had no room to really soak it in, look at the field, look at the fans. It was like a swarm basically around him, and I think that needs to be figured out because that was bullshit, in my opinion. Like, give the guy some fucking space. This is his last game at Heinz Field. Let him soak it in. I get it. You're trying to find a picture, but guess what? Use a fucking picture that you used 20, 30 years ago. I do not care, okay? Like, come on. Give this guy some room. Give him some space. Let him soak this in. He goes and sits down on the bench at one point, and to try to look on the field, and he probably wanted to break down. He probably was crying. He probably was doing all that. But, I mean, the pictures were, like, literally up on his face. Like, oh, what's Big Ben doing here? It's like, no. Like, give this dude some fucking room. Paparazzi just gets me. They're a bunch of scumbags in a way. So, I don't like them. But one hell of a career. One last time for Big Ben. Hopefully you have a chance, like I said earlier, to potentially get to another Lombardi. So, on the other hand of things, the Green Bay Packers needed one specific thing to happen for them to potentially lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC. That happened because the Dallas Cowboys ended up playing the Arizona Cardinals, in which Kyler Murray previously, before coming into this game, was 7-0 career, had a career record of 7-0 at AT&T Stadium through high school, college, and in the NFL. Never lost there, and he hasn't at all since then. Because on Sunday, Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals beat the Dallas Cowboys 25-22. The Arizona Cardinals moved to 11-5 on the season. Likewise for the Dallas Cowboys. This is a pretty interesting game to watch. Couldn't watch a lot of it, but I did get glimpses here and there because when I was out, tailgating, getting my groove on, if you will. The game was on because obviously all of Green Bay Nation needed the Dallas Cowboys to lose to lock up or potentially have a chance to lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC, control home field advantage for the entire playoffs. up until, obviously the Super Bowl. And they did so. The Dallas Cowboys ended up losing, like I just noted. Both Kyler Murray and Dak Prescott had phenomenal days. Murray, 263 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dak, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns. But you look there, Ezekiel Elliott. What's going on, dude? Like, Jerry World decided to go and sign you for how many millions of dollars, and you're kind of letting him down in a big way. I mean, 30 total yards off of 10 touches. Come on, dude. You can't even get in the end zone. Like, what's going on? What's going on with that? Also, T's and P's to Michael Gallup. Suffered a season-ending ACL tear. He is going to be a free agent this offseason, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens with him going forward, if he's going to get picked up, if he's going to end up staying a Dallas Cowboy, which is definitely a possibility. But Chase Edmonds, he had himself a day. No touchdowns on his side. Christian Kirk also had himself a day as well. But one major thing in this game, one awesome thing, probably the catch of the year. The dude somehow, I mean, it was a bomb, somewhat, and don't remember off the top of my head who it was that caught the ball. But I mean, he's going back. He turned his body. The corner is literally right in front of him, draped in front of him. He goes up, reaches with his hand, and takes the ball and holds it on the other dude's helmet. Comes down. All right, well, what the fuck did this Adobe want to do? We're going to fix this real quick, okay? Give me a sec. Don't know why that's a thing. We'll continue to go from here, but some shit popped up on my computer, but I don't want that to happen again. It is what it is. We're going to continue to grow, continue to work, but, it was a pretty solid game for the most part, Cardinals, Cowboys. Like I said, I didn't really get to see too much of it. There was just a couple things where it was like, oh, okay. Like, Cardinals, they really don't need their superstars necessarily. Like, they obviously need Kyler Murray. They need at least one of them to really, give them a chance at winning the ball game. But they got the job done in Jerry World, 25-22, beat the Dallas Cowboys, which ended up giving the Green Bay Packers a chance to solidify the number 1 seed going forward in the playoffs, in which, they capitalized, okay, in a big way. They absolutely slaughtered the Minnesota Vikings 37-10. I mean, Green Bay's 13-3. They now have the number 1 seed going into the playoffs this offseason. I guess it is technically offseason for most teams, but in the playoffs. You get what I'm saying, okay? But Aaron Rodgers, 288, 2 touchdowns. A.J. Dillon was the man of the hour during this game. Just an absolute bowling ball. Don't really know why they didn't use Aaron Jones, possibly because of how fucking cold it was. And A.J. Dillon, it didn't seem like the cold affected him at all or nearly as much. I mean, 63 yards, 2 tutties on the night. He was a big factor of why they won that game. Also, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, one of the, if not the best wide receiver quarterback duo in all of the NFL, has been for at least the past 3 years. Back-to-back 13-3 starts to their season. Last 2 years, obviously a 16-game slate season. This year, a 17-game slate season. So they could go to 14-3 on the season. But, I mean, they really don't need to anymore because they got the number 1 seed. If they lose next week, it doesn't matter at all. The Vikings moved to 7-9 on the season. Their playoff hopes officially gone, over with. Rest in peace. It was one hell of a ride. Now we'll see what kind of changes are going to be made. Sean Mannion, congratulations on your first career touchdown. Really well deserved, well needed. But listen, pal. No disrespect or anything, but you're not a starting quarterback, okay? That's not possible. He's definitely not a starting quarterback. Dalvin Cook, 13 fucking yards is all you could get. Well, what's that all about? Geez Louise. One of the best running backs in the NFL, and you only get 13. Starting to look like good old Zeke down in Jerry World. Not completely, because I still do believe Dalvin's a much better running back than Ezekiel Elliott, in my opinion. Maybe that's because I'm a Vikings fan and stuff like that. But let me ask you this. You got your fantasy football draft, and you're stuck with Dalvin or Zeke. Who are you taking? Huh? Who are you taking? I think that should solidify that right there because honestly, in my opinion, I'm taking Dalvin 10 times out of 10, okay? But this 13 yards, wasn't what we're used to, but obviously with how cold it was and just the whole weather thing kind of definitely played a factor. The Vikings, they looked like they were not ready to play football. I mean, man-to-man coverage with fucking Chris Boyd on Davante Adams. What are we doing? What are we doing? That's not going to work. As soon as the game started, first fucking play, Davante Adams lines up in the out wide. And then I look, I'm like, okay, who's covering him? Who's on him? It's not Patrick fucking Peterson because who the hell knows why? I'm not a defensive guru. Zimmer is, apparently. But I look over there. Number 29, Chris Boyd. 1v1. And what happens? Like a 20, 30-yard bomb to Davante. After that play, I said, well, good luck, Vikings. Better luck next year because we are completely over this game. We're moving on to the offseason. There's nothing really going to happen. It blew my mind for the sole fact that we're really going to use Chris Boyd to guard the best wide receiver in the National Football League for at least the past 3-4 years. At least in my opinion, the stats may, I guess the stats are definitely there, but I can't remember if he was hurt a couple of years ago where he missed 4 games. I believe that is correct with a hamstring injury or whatever. But you can't do it. And then so when they finally fucking realized, oh yeah, Chris Boyd 1v1 with Davante, not going to work, they go and put a spy basically on him. Someone to shadow Chris Boyd and Davante to maybe make up for some of the mistakes that are definitely going to happen. And guess who that dude was? Cameron Bynum. Y'all know who Cameron Bynum is? Didn't think so. Okay? Doesn't work. When you got 2 subpar defensive backs out there, and you got the number 1 receiver in all of the NFL, Davante Adams, it's still not going to work. Look, Calvin Johnson got triple fucking teamed, and it still didn't work. Dude was a freak, obviously, but so is Davante Adams. You're going to have to put your best players on the best receiver if you want success. And there was no success right from the beginning of the game. I knew it was well over before it even started on, Fantasy Football Thursday, basically, because we didn't have the Friday show because we left, or no, we did do it on Friday. Yes, we did. So Fantasy Football Friday, I had to pick Green Bay over Minnesota because I knew we were a lost cause at this point in time, especially with Kirk Cousins getting COVID at the perfect fucking time. Hell of a timing, Kirk. One hell of a time. But I think with this game going being as lopsided as it is, I think it's going to make a lot of fans realize just how valuable Kirk Cousins is to the Minnesota Vikings. I get it, Sean Mannion, not that good. Kirk Cousins, he's very, very consistent. Can't win in the big games, that being primetime playoffs and whatnot. But if Kirk Cousins is out there, he at least gives us an extra touchdown, maybe 2. Maybe that's probably a stretch because Green Bay, I mean, they were lighting it up. This defense is amazing, incredible of what they've been able to do. Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes, and guess what, folks? They don't even have their number 1 corner, Jareer Alexander. If this team goes into the playoffs with Jareer, with David Bakhtiari, who hasn't played the entire season, good fucking luck stopping the Green Bay Packers. I'm dead serious. At home, have home field advantage. It's going to be really, 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 really tough to beat Green Bay, especially the last couple of years. They definitely have a big, big chip on their shoulder. Back-to-back NFC Championship games, they lose, couldn't stop the run. I'll put money on it right now that says they definitely stopped the run, and they have a really good shot at stopping the passing game. And if Tom Brady ends up going back to Lambeau, expect it to be a shootout. Expect it to be one hell of a game, but I don't think that's going to be the case because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers almost lost to the goddamn Jets. Goddamn Jets. All hell broke loose in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Jets game the other night where business is not booming. Okay, no more. Absolutely not booming, to say the least. Some shit happened. We're sitting down eating a cheeseburger in this massive, I don't even know, event event center, maybe something like that, if you want to call it. It was a bar out front, and then the whole back area was like a big event center. But we're watching these games, and then Logan, guest host on Fantasy Football Fridays with us, with me and John, he's like, yo, Antonio Brown just took off his stuff and left the game. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, what the hell just happened? Like, what actually, like, went on? Like, why did he do this? It doesn't make any sense. Then you go and you start looking at all the videos, and I mean, this dude just starts ripping stuff, throws it, takes his shirt off, he takes his glove off, chucks it in the stand, and then he starts running, jogging, doing all the peace signs. We'll see you next year. Peace out. At that time, I think it was 24-10 in the game. And I think Antonio Brown probably had enough, probably wanted his incentives, really unsure at this point in time what the fuck actually happened, because that just doesn't happen normally. Like, you don't just see a player say, all right, screw it, we're done, not going to happen, no more. I think my fucking sound just came on. Nope, we're good. But you just don't see that. It's never happened in all of football. Like, it might have, like, way back in the day, but you just don't see that. And so something had to have happened. Mike Evans tried getting him to, to stay. Like, hey, dude, like, come on, like, let's not, make this a big deal. And then he's like, get the fuck out of my way. All right, I'm done. I am not going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Before all this, he had a 3-game suspension. He was hurt with an ankle injury. Reports are saying, oh, he was a little bit too hurt. He didn't want to put himself back in the game to re-aggravate it and stuff like that. Other people are saying, oh, no, it was the Bucs saying, hey, you're not getting your $1 million for fucking faking a vaccination card, okay? Okay, pal? Just not going to happen. So there's all these reports. Don't know what's true. Don't care what's true. All I know for a fact is that Antonio fucking Brown will never, ever play another game in the National Football League. And if he does, rest in peace to that team. I mean, just rest in peace, because he is a problem. He has an ego. And I hope all the best for him, and I hope he gets the help he needs, because he definitely needs some help. Maybe it's the CTE, maybe it's, I don't know. Like, it's just mind-boggling to think that actually happened. Taking his gear all the way off, throwing it to the sideline, being a distraction for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were down 2 touchdowns, down 14 points. Like, you just don't do it. Something had to happen. I'm assuming we'll figure the rest out in the next couple of days. He hasn't hit waivers yet. The Bucs still technically own him, okay, and I think they're going to do that until Week 18 is over and done with, so that no other team can go out and pluck him from the waiver wire before the playoffs, because he doesn't deserve a ring. He doesn't deserve a playoff chance. He doesn't deserve anything in the National Football League anymore. He was potentially, possibly in the near future, something maybe had the chance of going to the Hall of Fame. Not going to ever happen, okay? This guy is a problem. He reminds me a lot of him and Le'Veon Bell. I mean, I think they're fucking twins, okay? I really do think these guys are twins in a way, because they both are just problem causers. They just go in there, and they're a complete distraction to the team. They just make too much noise. But after that whole spiel happened, Tampa being down 14 points, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rally back, okay, and Tom Brady has one hell of a drive to end the game, 28-24. Tampa ends up winning, sending them to 12-4 on the season. The New York Jets go to 4-12 on the season. Tom Brady, phenomenal performance yet again. Okay, that's my dude. How you doing? Keep it moving. 3 tutties, 1 pick, 410 yards for him. Zach Wilson, hey, he might be a guy. Okay, and it shows how good, yeah, definitely shows how good of a coach Tomlin is to get Big Ben in that way. But Zach Wilson, 234 yards, 1 tutty. Michael Carter, I think he actually had a sack, if I'm correct. I didn't go look at that stat because I just scrolled past it on Twitter. But Keyshawn Vaughn got the majority of the carries due to Leonard Fournette being out. And Ronald Jones, he really wasn't too much of a factor. I guess their entire running back situation. But Rob Gronkowski, 115 yards, 7 catches. A big reason why Tampa Bay actually won that game. He's that guy. He's kind of like he's going to score touchdowns, obviously. He reminds me a little bit of Julio Jones, where he's going to be able to help the team move the ball down the field at a consistent basis. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, definitely. With Mike Tomlin putting up with fucking Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, he deserves he deserves something. I mean, give him a bonus or something because that is tough going. But hey, Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, they figured it out. They figured a way to win this ball game. Definitely should have lost, especially after that whole mumbo jumbo with Antonio Brown doing, causing drama, showing his ego, showing how big of a scumbag he is. And I just don't think he's ever going to play in the NFL again. I think his chances are over and done with. I mean, the whole Pittsburgh situation, wanted more money, and then he goes to Oakland. He doesn't want to play because they're making him change his fucking helmet. Okay, being a crybaby about it. Tom, I get it. Tom was a crybaby about his helmet too, but he eventually, changed his helmet where Antonio Brown was like, no, I ain't going to do it. Okay, and then he goes to New England. There's not much of an issue there. Just had some allegations going about him and stuff like that. But then goes to Tampa, and Bruce Arians flat out said, this is his last opportunity. Okay, you got one chance. You screw it up, you're gone. We thought the vaccination issue was going to be that chance. And he said, listen, we need Antonio Brown at this point in time. Like, okay, we just lost Chris Godwin. Okay, season-ending injury. We're going to need Antonio for the playoffs. And then this whole shit happens, and it went up in flames right in his face. But, hey, good for him. Business must be booming. I mean, why did he do that? I mean, he pursued a rap career. And by the way, he dropped the song hours after making that whole, doing that whole scene, basically. So, congratulations. The song fucking sucked, okay? He's trying, though. I mean, shit, this might suck. I don't know. But I don't care. So, Antonio Brown, he's an issue. Never will play in the NFL. Congrats to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Getting the dub in a close one. Tom Brady, mind you, is I think 42 or 43 years old and still having game-winning drives because he is the greatest of all time. So besides that game, I guess one other game was pretty interesting. There was fireworks happening, high scoring, 65 points to be exact. The Kansas City Chiefs going over to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. They thought it was going to end in a victory. It did not. Okay, Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase are absolute freaks of nature out there. One of the, I guess probably number two, the second best wide receiver quarterback duo in the NFL, other than, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, like I laid out not too long ago. But the things Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Burrow have been able to do is just ridiculous. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. 79% completion percentage the last two games for Joe Burrow. Over 900 yards the last two games for Joe Burrow. And I believe 8 fucking touchdowns from Joe Burrow in the last two games. Might be 9. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. No interceptions. Ja'Marr Chase, I mean, let's go take a gander, okay? 11 catches, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. How you doing? Keep it moving. This man caught, at one point in the ball game, he caught the pass and outran 6 motherfuckers to score a touchdown, like 60 yards. They had no chance. He is absolutely a freak. I mean, he's a beast out there. He broke Justin Jefferson's rookie receiving yard record, where it was 1,400. Ja'Marr Chase, I think, now has 1,426, I believe, or something like that. So congratulations, Ja'Marr Chase, for breaking that record. I know it was tough to do. Didn't think it was going to happen. I mean, after Justin Jefferson did the whole, had as much success as he did last year, I guess I could say. I just did not think that was going to be broken. Maybe that's typical, Viking fan nature. Oh, it ain't going to be beat. Don't worry about it. All right. But Ja'Marr Chase, he got the job done. The Chiefs held in there until the very end where Cincinnati's defense prevailed and their offense prevailed, sending them victorious and sending them to solidifying, was it AFC South division title? I believe that is what. No, that's not the AFC South. It's the AFC. Beats me. But they're number one in their division. Okay, they solidified that. They are automatically in the playoffs now, as well as the Chiefs. Okay, so this was not really a win now situation for Kansas City. It would have been nice because it would have gave them the first seed in the playoffs. Don't know why that happened. Jeez Louise. Whole bunch of technology shit going wrong right now. I don't know why, but it is what it is. At this point, but hey, hell of a win for Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase. Those guys, I mean, the scene of Joe Burrow and that smoking the cigar and doing that stuff was awesome. Loved it. I love seeing that. It's kind of like after the national title where he just sat down, put his legs up, and started smoking one. He's like, "Yup, we just fucking won. Yes, you know us. All right, LSU boys, we don't lose. Jeez." But they got it done down there in Cincinnati. They are looking forward to the playoffs. Sucks for Cleveland Browns fans around the nation because due to that win, it basically gave a big old finger to the Browns, and they are now officially out of the playoffs. So that was a pretty high-scoring game. We have another game that actually didn't help Viking Nation out too much. The Philadelphia Eagles go travel to Washington to take on the football team. And by the way, on February 2nd, 2022, the Washington football team will announce their new name and present their new logo. Excited for that, even though they might need to move out of Washington, okay? Like, they might need to do so. Look, they've had two sewage pipes shatter, okay? And water everywhere, going everywhere. And then 2 nights ago, or 2 days ago, Jalen Hurts was only sacked once, damn near twice from a fucking fence, or whatever you want to call it, wall, basically, that collapsed in the tunnel as he was trying to walk through. It was just a sight to be seen. Absolutely bonkers that happened. Washington, look, your facility sucks, your team sucks, your owner sucks as well. I mean, let's just pick up the team, okay, and let's move them somewhere else because it might not be working out in Washington, okay? First, you got some, your logo is obviously awful. And then you change the name to the fucking football team. How creative is that, right? And then, you got all this bunch of issues working out. They're missing the playoffs. They're really not that good of a team. They're really the same exact team from that of last year, in my opinion. I mean, if you look at it, they're now 6-10 on the season. The Eagles ended up beating them 20-16, and the Eagles with that win helped their playoff cause out, I guess, if you will. So if they win Week 18, the Saints lose. I guess if the Eagles win, they solidify their spot in the playoffs. I think they might have already clinched a playoff berth. So congratulations to the Eagles fucking over the Vikes. Love to see it. I mean, it's not like we lost and got the shit beat out of us in the NFC Championship game a couple years ago. I mean, fly, Eagles, fly, am I right? I mean, jeez Louise. But Jalen Hurts, no tutties. Boston Scott, 2 tutties. And Dallas Goedert, no tutties, but 71 yards on the day. The running game is really where the Eagles are succeeding and having the most success as of late because that's what has won them ball games. And earlier in the season, that was the big thing that we were all talking about. Was like, look, if the Eagles just run the goddamn ball, they might be a team. Quit using Jalen Hurts like it's Lamar Jackson. It's just they're two different people. They're two different guys out there. And the Eagles obviously took that into consideration. Nick Sirianni said, "Hey, listen, guys, okay, we want our corn to pop up and roll. So the roots will grow and continue to grow and grow out and do all that. So we have a dog mentality over here, okay." And they got a dog mentality, okay? They're in the playoffs. Hell of a job by Nick Sirianni getting that team who we all thought their defense was absolute trash, okay? Their offense needed some work. Dallas Goedert seems to be the only receiver over there. Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor just can't seem to figure it out. I still do think Devontae Smith, though, is going to be a freak of nature in the future, maybe the next year or so. I think he's going to be pretty solid for them. But another year under that system, a year learning what Nick Sirianni has put in place, I think is going to set him up well. But 20-16, hell of a win for Philly. Washington had a chance, okay? Couldn't get it done. Heineke, sorry, dude, but Patterson right there. He's Jarrett Patterson. He's pretty solid for the most part. A typical Washington running back like Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick. Like, they're good, but they're not that good, basically, is how you could put it that way. But Terry McLaurin, it seems like his production has started to go down as the seasons kind of went on. Maybe he's a little banged up and whatnot, but Washington just could not Could not get the job done, but they tried to hurt the Eagles quarterback legitimately at the end of things, where fans were piled up on the wall, and the wall just went down. Didn't hit Jalen, okay? Didn't hit him. Otherwise, there probably would have been a lawsuit or something. I don't know. Who knows about that? But, yeah, it came crashing down, hit a cameraman in the head. A lot of, I think it was Eagles fans, bounced their head off the cement there. I mean, it was a pretty sight to watch. It got a good laugh out of it. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, okay, then. They got to fix something there. And guess what they did, by the way? So that railing fell down. They put it back up. And instead of putting some bolts in that damn thing, they took some zip ties. They zip tied the goddamn fence so it would stay. That ain't going to hold for too much longer. I'm telling you, you get 10, 12 drunk Philly fans once again. That thing's coming down, okay? It's coming down with a lot of force. I don't know if a zip tie is going to do it, but hey, I'm no engineer, okay? I'm no engineer. So, it was awesome. It was definitely a sight to see. That's for sure. But the Indianapolis Colts this past weekend needed to get a win to potentially have a chance at winning their division over the Tennessee Titans. They did not get the job done. 23-20, the Raiders ended up beating the Colts, making the Raiders 9-7, and the Colts as well at 9-7. But look, Rich Bisaccia, old Paisan over there, awesome. Hell of a fucking run, dude. Interim head coach, fills in for a team that on True Identity Tuesday, and today is technically Tuesday. We're not doing True Identities today, but we'll get it figured out in some time, okay? But he has kept the Raiders in a potential playoff berth, and for that he deserves a big kudos, a big round of applause, because the thing he was able to do with that organization, I mean, you're talking about the IRS auditing him, John Gruden getting fired for a bunch of emails, Henry Ruggs going 156 miles an hour, Damon Arnett flashing some guns, got signed by the Dolphins, probably not a good idea, okay, and some other issues, and Rich Bisaccia has found a way to lead them to a potential playoff berth, and it's incredible. I did not think they were going to win this game. I did think the Colts had this one done, and for the first time this season, Jonathan Taylor rushed for over 100 yards, and the Colts lost. And they lost. And I said, if he rushes for over 100 yards, they are going to win. And it didn't happen. 108 yards, 1 touchdown from Jonathan Taylor on 20 carries. He did what he had to do. Carson Wentz, though, got to be better. Okay, 148 yards, 1 touchdown, 16-27 passing. Just got to be a little bit better. Your defense has got to figure it out a little bit more. But at the same time, I mean, their playoff hopes are still a real thing. I think they might have already clinched a playoff spot, if I'm not mistaken. Otherwise, they got like with a 6th or a 7th seed at this point in time, so they actually have a really good chance at getting into the playoffs. So do the Raiders. But what are you going to do? Basically, I mean, this is just one of those games that I believe the Las Vegas Raiders outcoached the Indianapolis Colts. So that was a fun one as well. I didn't get to watch that one, but I did get to watch this next game a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit, where the Los Angeles Rams went to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Matthew Stafford, if you guys don't remember, or if you guys don't remember, against the Minnesota Vikings, looked a little sloppy for the most part. Couple picks here and there, and then, what is it? Yeah, that was last week. Okay, so he had a couple picks. He looked a little rocky, especially the last couple weeks. He hasn't looked all that, great, to say the least. But, look, he didn't look great this game either. Should have lost. Should have fucking lost. And I don't know how they didn't, but Matthew Stafford, 2 fucking turnovers, 309 yards. I think those 2 touchdowns might have helped him, but I also think the Rams' defense helped them in a big way. The Rams win 20-19, move to 12-4 on the season, and I think no. So yeah, the Rams They're in first place as of right now, but if they lose next week, the Cardinals win. The Cardinals get the number 1 seed in their division. I believe it's the NFC West division. But the Ravens are at 8-8 on the season. Their playoff hopes are over and done with. Sorry, Lamar. Okay, it is what it is. But Huntley is going to find himself on a team next year, whether that's the Ravens or somewhere else. I do believe he's capable of being a starting quarterback in this league, especially, if you get him a chance. But if you're the Ravens, in my opinion, I think you do everything in your power to keep this guy around. And the reason I say this is because him and Lamar Jackson are so identical. It's crazy. It's unreal to kind of think about, because they're both fast as shit. They both can throw the ball. They both can do it on the run as well. Okay, and they both control the offense, control the game, control the way it's kind of going. The Ravens defense played phenomenal, picked it up a little while. They had those 2 interceptions that really should have been a game changer. Oh, I figured out what the fuck was making some noise. All right, we got that figured out. But I think it's their defense is a really big part in why they had a chance of winning this ball game. If they win this ball game, they're still in the playoff hunt. They still have a chance to make the playoffs. They could not get it done. Cooper Kupp saves the day. 95 yards and a touchdown. Sony Michel balled out as well. Did his thing. How you doing? Keep it moving. They did everything you're supposed to in order to win a ball game. Time management, defense coming together, saying, hey, enough is enough. Let's get the fucking job done, and let's continue to move forward. And their offense, obviously, Matthew Stafford needs to clean some things up. Hopefully this is going to happen for the next couple weeks, because at this point in the season, the momentum that you carry from now into the playoffs is a big thing. It's a key thing, and if they lose, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to bounce back, and it'll be interesting to see where the Rams are headed, especially into the playoffs. But that was a good game for the most part, but not. So let's go over to a game that wasn't so good. A game that, well, Bill Belichick had Mac Jones crying in laughter. Just absolute crying in laughter at one point in the game. Probably said, we beat the shit out of these guys, huh? And, went forward. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're dead. Okay, it's going to be hard to come back from this. The GM's probably going to go. They need a new head coach. Trevor Lawrence, who knows what the hell he is at this point in time. Travis Etienne, he went out early in the season with a season-ending injury. James Robinson, the same a couple weeks ago after them benching his ass, Urban Meyer benching his ass, because he had one fucking fumble on one carry. Like, give me a break. But the Jags suck, and they got demolished, absolutely demolished by the New England Patriots, 50-10. New England moves to 10-6 on the season, where Jacksonville, well, moves to 2-14 and probably has the number 1 pick in this year's draft. Sorry, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, good luck. T's and P's to you and your career in Jacksonville, because who knows what the hell that's going to look like, because I don't know what kind of coach they're going to hire. They probably need to hire Doug Peterson. I think they're going to hire Jim Caldwell. But there's obviously a whole bunch of names, floating around the area of who might be the head coach there and stuff like that. But Trevor Lawrence, 3 picks, can't have it. But New England's defense is phenomenal. They get the job done through the air on the defensively, I should say. Mac Jones is a dude. I think we all kind of realize that, especially now with a playoff berth after going from a 7-9 team to a 10-6 team up to this point. I mean, it's just a phenomenal turnaround of what they were able to do with Bill Belichick as their coach still, and Mac Jones, a rookie quarterback, leading this team as far as he had. And Ramondre Stevenson, I mean, he's an absolute animal himself, really been picking it up the last few weeks, as well as the other backs. Damian Harris is over there. I think Brandon Bolden is over there as well. So, I mean, they have the pieces in place to really go out and make a run. The wide receiver position is one position that I'm kind of I'm not really all in on. They do have some guys. They do have some guys over there like Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, and obviously Jacoby Myers, who's really started to flourish these past 2 years. But they're a really hit or miss wide receiver group, in my opinion. But I think with the way Mac Jones has been playing, and he knows the playbook 100%, I guarantee that. And those check down throws are going to be a really big thing for New England going into the playoffs. And I think that's what happened when they played the Bills. Is the Bills figured that out, stopped that check down throws, and made Mac actually have to huck it downfield, and that didn't work out the best for him. But New England's a team. New England's a really good team, and they're not a team to be messed with. And they're also not a team, they're not a team to lose to a really shitty team, if you put it, like, if you think about it at all. Because New England, I mean, they made Jacksonville their bitch, plain and simple. I mean, Jacksonville could do absolutely nothing. Look, I actually have hope for Jacksonville because their defense is young. It's ready to roll. They just got to figure it out. They got to have, probably new coaching. Something needs to change down there in Jacksonville for sure. But they do have a lot of upside, especially with Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, James Robinson, Marvin Jones at the receiving position. DJ Chark, I believe, is still over there. So they have the pieces in place. They just got to fucking, put that last piece of the puzzle in there. So it's a whole fucking picture. It's not just a picture with a hole in it, basically. And they'll be just fine. But I think at this point, it's going to be like, I hope it's not like a Cleveland Browns situation where it's year after year after year after year of first overall picks. And they just can't seem to get that first overall pick right ever. And then finally, bam, hey, we went from 0-16 to 11-5. We went to the playoffs, beat the goddamn Pittsburgh Steelers. How you doing? Keep it moving. And then they go to this year and they miss the playoffs and stuff. I hope that's not the case because I think Jacksonville's a little smarter than that. They are one of the newer teams in the NFL. They'll figure it out. Okay, Shad Khan will get the job done. I mean, he led him to the AFC Championship at one point. That was under Blake Bortles, and we talked about that. But New England absolutely slaughtered the Jacksonville Jaguars 50-10. Sucks for them. It was a beatdown. And there was another beatdown. Okay, there was quite a few beatdowns this weekend. The Detroit Lions tried going to CenturyLink Field. I think it's still called CenturyLink Field, I hope. Where the 12th man is a real thing. It's a real thing. And the 12th man nation over there in Seattle turned the Lions into just a bunch of little cubs on the football field, beating them 51-29. Seattle moving to 6-10 on the season. Detroit moving to 2-13-1 on the season. Still a better record than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So take that in mind, okay? Tim Boyle did get the start. Jared Goff is dealing with a little bit of, I think it was COVID maybe, but it might have been an injury. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares at this point? Because the Lions stink, plain and simple, but I do love MCDC over there. We had a whole conversation on him. The culture he's building over there, just his press conferences, he seems like the guy that might get that thing rolling in the right direction. I think we're about to see that here in the coming years. Okay, it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. But Amon-Ra St. Brown's really starting to flourish. He was my guy at the beginning of the season. I said, look, this dude, keep on your radar. He's going to be phenomenal. He's not afraid to go out there and make a catch with 3 defenders on him. He's going to go and get the ball. He's not going to let the ball come to him. His hands are incredible. Just be ready for this guy to make some noise. He didn't make any noise at the beginning of the season. Then all of a sudden, these past 3-4 weeks, he's starting to have 100 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns here and there. And he had 111 yards on 8 catches and a touchdown against Seattle. So good for him and the Detroit Lions of really getting a good pick in the draft, in this year's draft. So that is awesome. Awesome for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sucks for Tim Boyle, but Tim Boyle looks a lot better than Sean Mannion if you were to ask me out in that football field. The cold probably affected him, okay, but it is what it is. Russell Wilson, man, he went out on a bang, and I think he might be marketing himself for teams around the nation, because we did have this little conversation where Russell Wilson potentially said, yeah, this could potentially be my last game here at CenturyLink Stadium. So I'm probably not going to be Seattle Seahawks. He went out, balled out, 236 yards, 4 touchdowns, an absolute monster out there. DK Metcalf is finally relevant again, huh, folks? 3 fucking touchdowns, 63 yards. Let's give him a round of fucking applause. He deserves it. He was nowhere to be found. They thought they left him at home. He wasn't. Okay, he found his way back to CenturyLink Stadium, got it done, 3 tutties. Keep it moving. Awesome job. Rashad Penny, he was a phenomenal factor in this game. 170 yards, 2 touchdowns as well. Just an absolute beatdown of the Detroit Lions here in this one. So those are that was a pretty good game as well. There's a lot of good games that happened this weekend. But Week 17 is officially over and done with. Let's take a quick gander at all the results around the NFL, where we have the Buffalo Bills beating the Atlanta Falcons 29-15. I mean, Atlanta was never going to win that one, okay? Hey, kudos, shout out to fucking Diggs for sending Cordell Patterson some wings, huh? I wish I could try some of those, but that was awesome to see. The Chargers beat the Broncos 34-13. The Bears beat an awful New York Giants team 29-3. I don't know how the Giants are going to bounce back after this year, after the last 10 years, basically, since Eli Manning left, because they're bad. They are really, really bad, and it's laughable, basically. But Niners get the dub 23-7 over the Houston Texans. We all knew that was going to happen. Davis Mills had that touchdown pass. Still a guy out there, still balling. Might not be the franchise guy, but I think he's going to be a Texan for quite some time. So good for him out to showcase his skills. The Tennessee Titans, they pounded the Miami Dolphins 34-3 in a massive, massive victory. I thought Miami was going to win. It was not the case. They were currently on a 7-game win streak. That 7-game win streak now goes to a 1-game losing streak. Couldn't really get it done down there. Miami, I think, is officially out of the playoff berth or playoff race, if you will, so that sucks for them. But good for Tennessee, as they're now currently the number 1 seed in the AFC. So if they solidify that this next weekend, hey, they get a first-round bye in the playoffs and home field advantage, which could be big at Nissan Stadium there in Nashville, Tennessee. So good for the Tennessee Titans. And then the last game there, Saints beating the Panthers 18-10. Carolina still has a quarterback problem. I hope they don't roll with Sam Darnold next year, or P.J. Walker, or Cam Newton. Actually, I like PJ just because the XFL whole stint that he had. He's an awesome quarterback. He deserves all the praise in the world. He deserves chances and stuff like that. So hopefully keep him around as a backup. But they need to figure it out. I mean, they need to figure it out down there. And who knows? Maybe Russell Wilson, huh? Russell Wilson could be a potential guy that goes down there. Who knows? We never know until it is all said and over with. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether that be on Facebook or on the old YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, please do me a big old favor and hit that subscribe button. It would be much, much appreciated, because we only continue to grow and continue to get better. We got a fucking mic, for crying out loud. I mean, gee, look at me. Don't need to toot my own horn. No, I'm just kidding. But have a great rest of your night. Go watch Man in the Arena, Tom Brady. Episode 8, I believe, is out on ESPN+, so that'll be a great one to watch. Also, the John Madden documentary, I think, might still be out. Not 100% sure on that one. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. You'll thank me later, okay? But have a good rest of your night, and you just got your fix with the Wicks. Peace out.